Hello, Sunshines, and welcome to deValiante Plays Inverness Nights by Kitsubasa. This visual novel was part of Ichio's bundle for racial justice and equality. In this queer, supernatural historical fiction, you are introduced to Tristram, a simple tailor just trying to survive, hiding his true feelings and his special powers in 1700 Inverness, Scotland. Warning: this video features homophobia, graphic imagery, and depictions of abuse. Discretion is advised. Now, without further ado, let's get started.
April 1746. Of the men who went to battle, only a portion returned to town. Of the men who returned to town, only a portion remained alive. I checked the fallen figures, face by face, streets to outskirts. Alistair's Fainburn son had visited me 3 times. Enough I knew there was a family resemblance, but not enough to stave off hope I failed in identifying a body. The church collected the nearest dead to provide a real resting place. Anyone too far east would be consigned to the ground they collapsed on, or an English-made mass grave. If I couldn't find the lad in town, other hands would find him. If I couldn't find him in the fields, I had to find him. Further from the nests than I had been in 5 years, the sky climbed higher, the valleys dove deeper, the world opened and offered to claim me. Tristram, nomad, Tristram, sellsword, Tristram, tailor. There is nothing tying you to Inverness. There is nothing in Inverness at all. Take your skills and leave, as you left every other place and every other life in the last 800 years. For once the world was wrong. Hidden in my bedroom, a man waited for his son. I turned my focus to the road, to the task, to the terrain at my feet. A crossroad appeared, one armed marked with a dry stone wall. Corpses were stacked against it. At the bottom of the pile I saw fair-burned features, blonde hair, pale skin, staring blue eyes. George. Too much weight on his gentle body. Tautons caught in the pins and weapons of his comrades, fermenting in the damp, the insects writhing from the mud and into his wounds. Impossible to drag him out alone. I sat by the heap and suffered the rain with him. Rain to drizzle, drizzle to mist. A well-to-do sort rode by on a horse, their pace a curious trot. I stood from the wall. Would he help me? A startled yes came in reply. Levering the heap, I watched him pull the lad free. The damage, somehow worse when viewed alone, no others to compare it to. Despite the noble's gaze, I laid my hands on the body, skin to sunken skin, and focused. My palms glowed star-white. The lad's cheeks filled with the insects filled his wounds. His color returned. Oh, fled. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That's me not being able to read. That's fine. Still and still dead. I couldn't mend the essential breaks, but I would make him presentable for his father. Presentable is often enough. May 1750. I've already forgotten what year was supposed. Like, is this before? Were we in 1756? I don't remember. Presentable. What makes a man presentable? Clear complexion, clean clothes, carefully cut hair, perhaps. At 67, Alistair Fairbairn has few wrinkles, a laundered coat, and a neat shave. Still, I'd call him a mess overdue for tidying. It's this leg and his full approach to tending it. The knee bulges at an angle. He could have let me set it. The skin crawls with white and green. He could have let me apply alcohol. You can't escape anything on sickly feet, neither the Highlands nor the world. Not with me around. Again, my palms glow star-white. Like father, like son. Okay, this is after? So is it I don't remember dates. Leave me alone. Curing decay is my talent, whether old age and illness in the living, or the literal kind in the dead. And Alice isn't gone yet. Should my work succeed, he won't be gone for a while. Where are my old clothes? Non-violent anger is Alice's habit, but tonight he throws his cane. Ow. It's really loud. His arms are still foreign. The throw misses by 2 feet. There's a clatter as the cane hits the wall. The floor bounces over itself, stops, unbroken. Tristan. It was for your health. He hops toward me. Bends to the ground, picks up the cane, stands again tapping it on to the rug. You're a real devil. If he's trying to figure me as something Mephistophelian? Well, he's near the truth. But with cotton wool in place of a brain, he's hardly Faust, and the topless towers of Inverness burnt for the bonny prince, not sweet Helen. I'm just a man, same as any other. And I was just a man. Now, he lifts the small of the cane from the floor and tips it skyward, the pendulous head swinging to the lowest point. Now? His hand slips together as he's holding a golf club. Now, he sweeps the cane over his head and attempts to hammer it down on mine. Ouch. I catch it by the shaft some inches from above my skull. He's stronger than he was, but I have the sturdier frame. I trust his tantrum is over. Pacing backwards, I pull him into my workshop, rolling a few meters off the exterior door and the staircase to the street. Stop it! You could let go of the cane. Not taking my legs again. I'm not. You are. Throwing this around, provoking me, making poor decisions. Decisions? Pass out from a fever, wake up like this? Tell me, Tristram, do people make decisions in their sleep? He tugs the cane once more. I hold it tight. He predictably gives in. Ow. His hands squeak off. He stumbles back. His knee cracks. He crumples to cradle it. Don't exasperate your injury. Make me young. Don't make me my leg better. You useless. No. I'm useless. My joints, my house. Invite me into every bad place and every bad plan. I say yes to every invitation. Ought to report you for buggery. Aye, that'd do it. London might have legalized sorcery, but sodomy is a crime in both books. Ignore God how you like. Can't ignore the garrison. No, oh no. Give me my cane, Triss. I'll walk you. You'll let go. You'll leave me without any legs to stand on. I really don't want to give him the cane. Because he's just going to hit me with it. So let's see what the dice say. So 1 and 2 is carry him. 3 and 4 is going to be give him the cane. 2, I guess we'll carry him. As I remember it, your first fall happened because I wasn't there. If this is about keeping you mobile, I hoist him over my shoulder. He drums against my shoulder blades as we descend. The thin crust has formed on the mud. 2 days since the last rainfall. 3 more. I might be able to leave home without my socks dyeing brown. I place him on a solitary island of semi-solid dirt. His face is slick and hot, his hair bristles in all directions. I failed to retie his bow before waking him. Hair tamed or tangled, the expression underneath would be the same. Teary, furious confusion. Not a lark, Trish. I mean it. I'll report you. I will. Threats like library books are best issued one at a time. With 3 variants taken out, his are unlikely to return. I turn and climb home. Ow. What was that? Stopping on the landing, I strike the wall of the staircase. Oh, okay. My hand judders with pain, and the anger subsides to a wooden ache. Less than 1/10 my age, and 10 times as frustrating. I should have let him escape the way he wanted. But I couldn't cut that last tie, and both ends are knotted tight. That was the prologue, apparently. Do I just click? I guess I do. I stir from the armchair, my clothes stink of vinegar. Mental athletics work up a sweat, as sour as any other, and invite slumber in all ill-advised places. Sleep has made the threat more real, demanded a response. The options before me. Leave now, avoid arrest. No fun saved, not after buying equipment up to try cobbling. I'd have to abandon my possessions and disappear on foot. A safer start, but a harsher end. Unemployed in a gutter across the country, with nothing but a broken case, whatever fit inside. Oh, for the career that demands fewer supplies. Alternatively, I stay, and save for a proper journey. This option comes with a chance of arrest. Arrest comes with certain execution. Destitution in a foreign city would be another kind of death sentence, wouldn't it? On foot I can manage the merest tailoring equipment, enough to mend it, if not to make. Perhaps I'm being too pessimistic about immediate departure. As long as I'm taking the threat as genuine, it's my best option. I should seize it while I have the chance. Was that your shoulder? I stand. I swing my shoulder and click my neck to either side. I bend backwards until the stiffness eases out of my spine. Never growing any older in the defining perk of immortality, but age and angry joints are not necessarily synonymous. Are Alistair's any calmer now? My closet holds artifacts from my last move. A valise tearing at the buckles, an outdated crocked hat. I heave the bag by its straps and set it on the floor, one of the pair snapping in the process. Ugh. With a huff, I duck into my bedroom. Keeping each item folded, I take my valuable clothes from my drawers. A capulet with a flory cantiflori around the what? The hell is that? A short-sleeved coat with a colorful yoke, antiqued and symmetrical Venetian leggings. Into the case they go. A few trinkets, a short sword, some tartans I haven't worn in decades. Probably won't wear for decades to come. This band seems set to last. Englishmen or English sympathizers could show up any minute. Spot me in them. Another charge to read as I approach the gallows. On to scissors, threads, needle sets, a box I keep full of buttons and other notions, several coils of ribbon. I won't bother with fabric. It's all out of fashion. Much like my hat, only suited for sentimental work. Case filled with everything I can easily remember. I plunge into the depths of my mind for any sunken necessities, only to be hauled up by a knock. My heart, my breathing, and the hairs on the back of my neck raise in turn. Alistair is not a morning person. By this sunlight I barely call it 8. Is he really so committed to my demise? I've confronted death in 100 red fields. I can confront it at my front door. How prompt. A woman. On this morning or any other, a woman is odd, professionally and personally. How may I help you?
May I come in? It's still cold as winter here.
Having a woman inside my workshop would be a boon, whatever she's entering for. Certainly.
Thank you, sir. Oh, you're packing. Have I come at a bad time?
I'm heading on a trip, but a short chat is in no trouble.
Oh, a trip? How long are you going?
Indefinitely.
Why?
Private matters, I'm afraid.
I asked the innkeeper about a dressmaker. He told me, don't bother with the specialist, the tailor nearby. He dabbles. He made my wife's favorite ensemble. I hope it's not money trouble. You seem valid, and I'm sure if someone knew...
My finances are fine, and they don't need to know. You could pay to learn tact. Sorry for forgetting my place. If you won't share your business, may I share mine? Assuming I'm still no trouble. Her business is already half shared, though I should have figured from her first words. English, so not local, expecting some secret garrison wife. And she couldn't be a bastard. I haven't known any women lately. The sole occasion I tried them, I was like a child forced to try vegetables, swallowing for health and for the sake of my parents. Thus the only option, a customer. Share away.
Thank you, sir. If it isn't obvious, I'm fishing for a new ensemble. With what you've said about leaving, I should probably mention up front I'm prepared to pay an emperor's ransom. The same emperor's ransom she used to purchase her current rather depressing costume. The fabric is serviceable, the cut is modern, at least this side of the channel. I was about to say Chanel. There are pearls, there is lace, but the English are known counterfeiters. If they invented fake crystal, why not mock their adornments? The chiffon at her hem is unraveling. And why run a rope around her neck if she can afford better? What that accessory opens the trap door and drops her from fraud to freak. Likely feigning luxury is the purpose of whoring. I'll consider. Excellent.
Provided you show me this fortune. If she thought I would be gullible enough to skip asking,
Of course. I should have done that to begin with.
Her hand weaves down her stays as she's tempting me to follow. No. Back from the valley. What? Shush. Is she surprised by my lack of interest? Her smile stays steady, so mayhaps not. I could be misunderstanding. While I speak several languages, the female tongue has always eluded me.
It's not the whole payment. I don't have any pockets, and this bodice only fits so much.
She holds a red and gold purse and a clashing pink tie. Opening the lips, she reveals,
though it's probably a full month of work, unless you're presently paid what you're worth.
Solid gold coins. No messing with pounds and bank wars and all the trouble of legal tender. A substance I can pass and barter at every edge of the known world. What could she possibly want made? Maybe I need to lift her status back to fraud. Could be counterfeit, couldn't it? Still, if I took it for real, others would do the same. As long as they accept it, what does it matter if it's fake? All right. What do you need my skills for?
A robe, a petty, and a stomacher. My hand's fraying, so I'm sure you've already noticed. I didn't until it was too late for repairs.
Your last outfit was made in England, was it?
London.
Typical. The innkeeper had a good choice of words. I only dabble in frocks. Even so, if you trust his recommendation, and you're offering that much, I'll take the job.
I could hire a proper coach and move my furniture. I could move it to the first home I see. Then I could stop work for a year and focus on my hobbies. The concern here is time. It should only take a day or two, complexity depending. But every hour in Inverness is an hour more of worry. Though having a woman in my shop will help if the law comes knocking. This would work well. I might even escape with my hair still red. Assuming my inexperience with skirts and stays doesn't drastically reduce my speed. What if she wants me to come up with a design or provide fabric? When I have to source it, and this is why I am a tailor. Women have too many complexities, too many curves. Nothing like drafting for men, straight lines, sharp angles. Were it not for the money, I'd regret this already. I'll need a few more details before I can begin. Yes, I must begin this morning. I'll delay my escape until we're done, but no further. Escape? Don't pry. Now, do you have any further specific? What's your name? I need something to put in the books. Oh, forgot to introduce myself, didn't I? My name is Shell Azara. Hesitation? A pseudonym? Shell Azara. First name odd, but English. Surname Italian and probably truthful. Why lie about foreign ancestry? In modern Britain, the only people with pleasant lives are pools at the end of the ancient English bloodstreams. Lovely. You've probably heard mine, but in the event you have, I'm Tristram Rose. Tristram? I like it. Though a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Why did I let this woman into my shop? Witty. Let's not, though. Well, Shell, my next question. Were you wanting to commission something specific? Are there any desired materials? Yes, to both. She returns to the door and reaches behind the frame. A bolt of purple fabric is in tow. She makes her way in again. She dumps the bolt in my armchair. Once more her hand winds down her stay. She produces a surprisingly intact piece of paper. Must you keep doing that? What? Rummaging in your clothes. Right, it's not proper behavior, is it? In any case, these are my plans. An elaborate robe, drowning in trims and beads. Small wonder she offered me several years' pay. Most men would take that long to craft this. There's a choke. Chiffon drapery on the sleeves. To be properly finished this time. That's one detail I can guarantee. I take the sheet. My fingers trace the design. It's likely she drew this. The lines are shaky as though they've been written on a carriage ride with numb hands. Sound anatomy. Under some sections there are skeletal construction lines. I'll have to substitute most of the trims, and while I keep a supply of beads, some of your notes mentioned real gold. I have that and the other listed supplies at my inn. I thought bringing them today would be getting ahead of myself. I see. This bolt here is the petty and stomacher fabric? Isn't it interesting? There were cultures and times where lilac was interesting for its legality. This is not one of them. It's not beige, but it's not tartan. To some, I suppose, looking through the lot of this, I'm estimating a full week to finish. It's not ideal, but what is? If that's acceptable, let's continue to the fitting. Excellent. Here we go. Holding the fabric to her stays, I deconstruct the garment in my mind. Which rises am I supposed to hang this off of? Merciful that their garments are taken from their underwear instead of their bodies, flattening down all the dimensions of a simple slab of... Hang on. Your stays are crushing you. Aren't they supposed to? To an extent, but there's a difference between fitting for vanity and fitting for denial. But what's in denial here? I need a third option. She's pregnant? Or ignorance? Between this and the fact that you let someone sell you a fraying robe, I'm not sure you understand how clothes are meant to work. Which, considering her drafting skills, is actually rather sad. It's like seeing someone eat a well-chosen but half-ripe fruit, a promising start, invalidated. I don't want to see you hurt out of ignorance. You need a properly fitted stay, or you'll wreck something. Your ribs, your organs. I'm not a doctor, but I'm a man of common sense. Who am I to say what goes on inside them? Maybe they have extra layers of soft tissue to match the rest of their soft nature, and that's getting construed. Okay. No, this is disconcerting. Even though I know next to nothing about the inner workings of a woman, I can't allow this.
You're probably right, but there's no alternative.
Why not?
You waved me off the topic of your escape. I'm allowed privacy too.
She's pregnant.
If you're worried for my health... Better we leave it like this.
Not smart enough to realize the fit is crushing her, but wise enough to say the crushing is the lesser evil. It's none of my business. Furthermore, my business will suffer if I keep this up. My hands move stiffly across the petty silk. It crackles at the touch, brittle like aged bones, more solid than a mid-weight weave should be. The embroidery is unusual, too. A rebsque, all abstract eagles and stars, quite unlike what I make in my timbre frame. On my timbre frame. Where did you get this?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask.
She sparks to life, every inch of her jittery in joy.
It's a lengthy story, but with your work, I'll have time to tell it.
Be my guest. I'm going to start pinning, so I won't be too talkative.
Brilliant. I'll start with a little history.
Like a rehearsed actor with an old monologue, she inhales. Okay.
Before Italy and after the East, Constantinople.
I know this word. I can say this word. Constantinople
was the center of the silk trade. Having stolen the means of manufacture from China, they were the first in the Western world to weave it. We open a Byzantine silk workshop occupied by a seamstress named Mariana. Mariana was one of the women contracted to the work in the silk industry, work and live and die. While the empire was aging and its lips were looser than they had once been, its silk work remained a secret. It sought to keep these last threads of knowledge from being pulled away. Yet everything unravels eventually. 2 unauthorized men slouched through Mariana's doorway. First, a man with pink eyes, the shade somewhere around rose quartz or a pale blush. On their documents, his name is Porphyrius. Porf. In conversation, it was Fury. That's not what I would have chosen, but okay. He was a Venetian trader, with a spirit like flint on steel. Following tentatively behind him was a scruffy, purple-dyed man named Sinbad. Not especially fiery, not prone to sparking trouble, but he was loyal. While Fury was prone to misadventure, this particular predicament that had placed the pair in the workshop was not of his making. It was a pale autumn afternoon in the year 1171, and a section of the city's Venetian population was attacked by the Genoese quarter, an expected event in an overheated melting pot. Less expected was the Empire's reaction, a call to arrest every Venetian in reach, regardless of their involvement. Fury's official options were to turn himself in or to flee and force a more personalized arrest, Why not take the chance for freedom? Why not take something else with it? As a trader, he had been forbidden from owning flat links of silk. As a criminal, he was forbidden nothing. So the silk workshops. So Mariana.
I thought you said this building was empty, Furry. I said it was unguarded. Does she look like someone who'd kebab me? She mostly doesn't. Even if she's not a guard, won't she be held accountable for letting us go? I suppose.
Fairy picked one teal bolt and 2 greens.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Sinbad said, claiming a royal purple bolt decorated in turquoise and orange. We're broke and he's Venetian. If we escape unstalked, we'll starve. Don't apologize. She's a government contractor. Government's running me out. We're enacting divine providence here. Have another bolt.
Sinbad yelped under the new weight, red with blue and gold birds. Mariana said nothing but swept toward a table and stooped from her great height to rummage beneath it.
Let's keep running. Any more would be greedy.
The men had 3 bolts each. Sinbad's were clutched to his chest.
Or if you want to list an actual deterrent, there's the fact that my arms are at top capacity, Fury said, adjusting his last bolt to balance on his shoulder.
He gave a nod. Sinbad gave a bow. Wow. The 2 men turned to exit. Mariana cleared her throat, dropping a bolt onto the table. She stared at their backs. Fury turned again, whacking Sinbad in the face with a protruding bolt end. First-grade lilac. Color and quality both unavailable to common folk, let alone common foreigners. Passage on your ship, in exchange for this. Worth more on its own than all 6 of those other rolls, she insisted. The loose ends drifted, abstract hands waving from within the patterns. It'd be too dangerous for... Just too dangerous enough.
To be an adventure. Toss it on, Sinbad. To port!
The trio were off. Within 20 meters of the workshop, Fairy tossed his bolts onto Sinbad's pile. His pace declined, but he held fast to the stack, tense through his upper body. Mariana ran like a flood, imposing and probably impactful, but slow to build. Fury was fleet. He took the lead and used it to engage in a sport of theft. Pockets and purses, stalls and stands, his fingers wound into any clear space, snapping jewels coined. Several bags of gold and bronze beads, a diamond-encrusted buckle in the shape of an egg. The chaos was a question, and one sharp guard remained in the district to seek an answer.
Give me a description of the men who did this.
It wasn't just the men, sir. Reaching one of the city's southern ports, Fury took the party to a small flat-bottomed boat. It was old but cozy and well-maintained. Sinbad threw the bolts inside the cabin. Returning to the deck, he applied his liberated hands to the anchor. Fury grabbed the oars and threw one to Mariana.
We'll row when we can.
Likely to be never unless you help fix this chain, Sinbad called, tugging at a stuck sequence of links. Hurtling down the sloped road toward the port, the guard noticed these 3 figures, Italian, Persian, and as described, standing on a deck.
Mariana!
Blurring into a kinetic mess of red and blue, he kept on for the cog.
Mariana!
He was a bird of prey.
Mariana!
Aquila. A soldier empty of his own interests, his life charted by lawmakers and generals, the charts followed by the laws of their own. The tip of the anchor fidgeted out of the ocean bed. 5 seconds more exertion. It was reeled in. The boat eased from the dock. Aquila hit the water, thin frame slicing through the surface. Fury returned to his oar and pushed harder to escape. For the merest moment, Aquila's fingers brushed the panels, and the oar swept its arc, knocking him away with a smack of wood on flesh and a crippling crack of his bones. The boat and its pursuer grew further apart, turned to do far from sight. The Mediterranean waited.
Silence.
Oh, that's pretty.
Sustained silence. That's your stopping place.
I figured I'd save the rest for tomorrow.
I might forget the details overnight.
4 names and 3 professions?
I'd hoped you'd be
more interested enough to remember, and to stay for the next installment. Though an old sailor's tale is less likely to keep you than money or professional responsibility.
Oh, I just realized she has purple eyes. So,
Lifestyle choices and
narrative decisions aside, she is not a complete idiot. Typical of noble women, if she is a noble woman, to be savvy in social scenarios and nowhere else. Tomorrow, then.
Wonderful.
With that settled, feel free to leave. I'll be able to get the basic elements of the Petty and Stomacher completed this afternoon, and perhaps a mock-up of the robe.
I'll bring the real fabric in the morning.
Thank you for your patronage.
My pleasure. One last thing.
She plucks out the purse again and drops it on my workbench. The gold jingles into place inside. I usually take payment on completion.
Why keep it rattling around in my clothes?
My move would be paid for thrice over.
What's the point if you'd rather run than help me?
The door squeaks open, and she hangs her hand on the knob. She looks at me. She closes the door between herself and the further discussion. Customer dedication is one thing, and chasing someone down those stairs is another. The only way to prove I care is to complete the commission, as or better than intended. I lift the cut fabric off my desk and move it to the dress form. Base the seams, ensuring the pattern runs unbroken around the lower hem. This is to be a tiered petty, layered in panels showcasing different sections of the embroidery. Shell's design is very specific about that. While I only cut the structured layer, none of the scalloped overhangs, I must avoid wastage of this silk. The silk that has survived so long, waiting for a worthy garment, waiting to be worn against all prior laws. Fury running from the ruins of his people with it, stoked by the empire that took them. He seems a man I could relate to. My abnormal amounts of discretion spared my workshop, but the English gladly razed Alice's cottage after Culloden. Had he been inside, he would have been burned too. They assumed Alice had passed on his own. If he hadn't, he was old and ineffectual and kept his Jacobite sympathies closeted with everything else. Since that year, he's lived in an apartment. He'll stay until his son's ghost drags him into a grave. Battle claims victims long after the last bullet. Sometimes, when he actually values my ability to ward off death, he comes here instead. Not now, I suppose. My ward became too literal. My home became a hospital.
Thank you for joining me as I played Inverness Nights by Kitsubasa. The new episode will be out shortly. If you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, a follow, and ring that notification bell so you know when the new episode drops. Also, don't forget to check out the link to the completely free Discord server to chat about games and whatever else is on your mind. Let's keep the comments chill, so no hate or spoilers, as I'm not above removing those comments and the people who make them. That's all for now, folks, and I'll see you next time.